Hello and welcome to Leeds United Latest here on the West Yorkshire Football Show with myself, Stephen Brown, and joining me as ever, Mr. Jason Booker. Good evening, everybody. If you're watching along live, please do get your comments in, questions in, get subscribed to the channel, and please do also like the video as well. Lots and lots to discuss. Just been watching a little bit of our old boy Rafinha tearing Newcastle a new one this evening. Bizarre game there. Barcelona 7-2, I think it finished, and Rafinha, absolute star man. I think he was a little bit subdued or a bit quiet in the first game, and then obviously he's just is absolutely blown them away. But that is what that man is capable of, absolutely. So we're going to get into it. We're going to talk about lots of different things, talk a little bit about, is there a bit of a goal drought going on at Leeds United at the minute? Where does the finger of blame point to, and all that. Jay, few days have passed since the Crystal Palace game, which it's the first, I think it was probably the first game this season where I had kind of got myself into a bad mood about it before we'd even kicked a ball. I was very negative about it, kind of texting anyone about it, was like, we're not going to do it. I don't know why. I just got into that frame of mind. And when the game kind of played out as it did, it was like reinforced it a little bit. I was like, I knew it was going to be terrible and blah, blah, blah. But it was kind of different. It was terrible for different reasons. I thought it was just going to be Leeds kind of rolling over a little bit, but it wasn't that at all, really. It was kind of, disappointing not to get 3 points in a way. But the lads battled. They showed a lot of character. Everything like that. I do think Crystal Palace were dreadful, though. Like, I said, I was dead proud of the boys after the game, and I was absolutely. I think it was obviously it's always a good defensive effort. Didn't even concede a shot with 10 men on. I mean, it's sterling stuff, but at the same point, I was like, they were appalling, and it's kind of frustrating that we didn't get our second away win of the season. But a few days on, how are you feeling about how you're reflecting on it? Good point. Still a little bit frustrated. How are you feeling now?
Yeah, I mean, the lads didn't even let me have a go at the referee yesterday. They didn't even give me time, really, to kind of go in again on the officials. Look, I don't think I'm going to change the way that I feel about Saturday or Sunday even, because it was so out of our hands. It wasn't a performance issue. It wasn't that Palace were better than us. It was none of that. It was all dictated by the man in the middle who got it massively, massively wrong. And I truly believe, regardless of the penalty, I think we're going to win that game second half with 11 men. We certainly have a much bigger opportunity. We would have created more chances in that second half. I think we're going to win the game. So they were there for the taking.
Yeah.
But overall, I think if we continue to take a point per game in our next 8 games, we stay up comfortably. So a point on the board isn't the end of the world. A point away at Palace is better than a point at home to Fulham, which is what Forest got. Spurs got a last-minute equaliser against a really poor Liverpool side. And West Ham got a point against a bit of an indifferent City side at the minute. And you could argue that they were maybe better than a point away at Palace. I'm not so sure. We don't travel very well. We don't travel well away to London over the last few years. No. Away games are always more difficult than home games, even when you're playing the tougher opposition. We've shown that ourselves this season in terms of the points that we've taken at home and the performances that we've been able to display at home as well. So I'm not so sure. I think it being status quo with the way that the game went, I don't think he's too bad. I think another weekend down where we did the gap didn't decrease for us is good. So we go into the weekend with a real opportunity now to start pulling a gap with some of the games that we've got coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's interesting actually, because I've been listening to a couple of podcasts and everything, and I was listening to Inside Ellen Rowe with Graham Smith. Loved that podcast, and they were saying about asking the question, are Leeds a bit naive when it comes to haranguing the ref a little bit? And there was a moment that they pointed to when I think Brennan Johnson fouls James Justin, and you get the feeling with JJ is quite a nice guy. He kind of takes it, and then the other Leeds players don't really protest or fight for the referee to make pull another yellow card out of his pocket, which would have got Johnson sent off. And there was question marks about, is that naive, etc. And I went down the rabbit hole. There was a Bielsa quote from, I think, a year or two flying around on Twitter that I retweeted, and it was kind of making the point about, look, the point of this sport is to entertain those people that are turning up and watching. What are we doing talking about kind of fouls and, you've got to be, the dark arts and all this kind of stuff. What is the purpose of this? I was completely down a rabbit hole by the way at this point. And he was saying the money driving everything. And there's real questions about the philosophy of the Premier League this year. It's fascinating to see, a lot of people comparing it to more like rugby union when they're, the Premier League this year. The amount of time and energy on set pieces and throw-ins and look, Leeds with the throw-ins, we do it as well. It's been a rich source for us this season. On the other side of the fence, I want us to stay up. I want us to do all these things. I want us to, buy into that, and you look who the league leaders are at the minute, Arsenal, who are the masters of it all. So there's a real kind of debate going on. Obviously, we've got, in the Champions League now, I think, depending how results go tonight, we might even lose that fifth kind of Champions League spot because a lot of our teams are exiting. And there's conversation about, when we come up against the elite European teams who still play football, in quotes, we're struggling a little bit. I mean, it's, look, the battle for football's soul, Jay. I mean, it's been talked about for many a year. Bielsa, as always, hits the nail on the head for me when he says, look, your priority is to entertain people and to make people happy to watch the game. If we're going away from that, what are we doing? Where are we going? But it's so difficult. But yeah, this is what a bad refereeing decision or a terrible refereeing performance in general can do to me. It sets me off on all sorts of tangents. But do you know what I mean? You just think, well, yes, I want JJ to scream and shout and try and get the player booked off. But in the same breath, I'm like, is that what I want to be watching? I mean, is that what this is supposed to be about?
It's absolutely not. You're right. Like, we're almost criticising our players for being honest, being genuine, wanting to play football, wanting to get on with the game. Like some of the Palace fan reaction to Leeds fans having a problem with I forget his name now, Shano, the centre back reaction. The reason that Leeds fans are unhappy with that is that he's so passionately celebrating cheating.
Yeah,
that's what we've got a problem with. And a little like that, nobody would have said anything. Yeah. But he's passionately going at Sarr actually selling a situation to the referee and the referee making a massive mistake. That's not what football's about. Like, I understand how important 3 points is. I understand how important winning games is. But as you've just said there, the football as a whole is a product of entertainment. That's it. And as part of that, there is rules that then get set that mean that people can't cheat. So I understand you can't 2-foot people, you can't trip people up. That is why them things are there. But if you were to go to the cinema and just have your product quality slashed through no fault of anybody for the complete wrong reasons, you just couldn't watch 20-30 minutes of the film, you'd be like, I want some of my money back. This is bang out of order. Now, we understand that doesn't come with sport, but that's why you then get irritated when things happen that shouldn't. And we've supposedly have put things like VAR in place to make sure that we have an even better game. And unfortunately, VAR has made the quality of everything that we watch so much worse.
Yeah.
From a perspective of not being able to celebrate the goals properly, to you're not ever really fully immersed in the game in the same way that you used to be, and then they still get so much wrong. I mean, I sent one in the group chat this morning which says that VAR has made 18 incorrect decisions this season, of which 2 of them have been ours, by the way, that we know of. I don't know the other 16, but 2 of them were ours. And you don't even know if that's the full kind of transparency of the situation, because that's 18 that somebody analysing it from a refereeing perspective is saying is wrong. They could also be wrong. I mean, we've seen Dermot Gallagher on Sky Sports this week. He's been making me want to pull teeth. This guy's meant to be the expert, and he's coming on and agreeing with these decisions.
Painful to watch.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Yeah, no, it really is. And I think, you know, as a whole, I mean, when you watch the Premier League this year, Jay, I mean, what is your feelings about it compared to any other kind of given Premier League year? Is this an exceptional year for you where we're getting this kind of thing going on, or, you know, is it kind of just being highlighted a little bit more? I mean, what's your kind of thoughts on that?
I think personally, I think the officiating's never been worse. I think it's been dropping since VAR came in, and officials have got lazier and more complacent year on year. The standard has certainly slipped. In terms of whatever training they may be doing behind the scenes, the ability to be able to keep up with play seems to have just disappeared. And I do think then it's also being compounded by the fact that teams are starting to play more games. You know, we've seen it, and Arsenal are absolutely the kings of it. Excuse me, but the amount of pulling and cheating off the ball that just doesn't get pulled up, it makes no sense. It literally makes no sense. And you're right, it's almost kind of a rugby union. And it reminds me of NFL. I'm not an NFL fan, but I know that they have like a blocking system in NFL where they stop players being able to make an advancement towards the ball. That's part of their rules. That's the game. It's a skill set within that. It's what it looks like in football. If you go and have a watch of a corner that Arsenal are defending, that's what they do. But that's not in our rules. No, it's not. There should be fouls. I mean, I've lost count the amount of times I've seen Arsenal should be giving away penalties.
I can't believe it. It's bizarre, absolutely bizarre. Lee, hi lads, big game this weekend. Yeah, thanks for your comment, mate. Yeah, it's absolutely bizarre. I mean, Jay, I just think this introduction of VAR and the technology, I just don't understand how they've allowed this beast to grow, because the game, it's meant to be a free-flowing game. It's meant to be, you know, that free-flowing element. It's not meant to be dominated by set pieces and, you know, these big, you know, everything's just winding up for set pieces. You know, it just feels, you know, and then, I mean, there were a game, I got frustrated with Leeds in the Sunderland game, actually, because, you know, we're chasing a game late on, but we have to pull back for the throw in, and it takes 2 minutes to line up for it. And it's like, get the ball in play quickly, try and attack and score. We're 1-0 down. What are you like? Just get on with it. You know, I don't want to. My team's losing in the 90th minute, 1-0. I don't want you to see you for 2 minutes line up to take a throw in. Just get the ball back in play. And I think. Sorry, mate.
Sorry to interrupt you. I was just, this kind of has just come to my mind. The biggest thing with VAR is that it's made everybody watching the game from an official point of view second guess what they're doing. So when was the last time that you saw a linesman give a penalty for a foul in the box? You know, like where they used to wave the flag, put it across the chest. I don't even know if it happens anymore. So these fouls that the likes of Arsenal are making, they're going, I think they're getting ignored. I don't think they're being missed by the linesman and by the referee. I think they're seeing it, but they're choosing to leave it to the VAR to make sure that they're getting that decision right, rather than it being then overturned. So they're leaving it for them. It's not meeting this threshold that takes over them giving the decision. They've made the decision to play on, right? So they have to then meet a threshold to go over that, which is then not meaning. So you're just letting things off the ball go. But yet then we're never seeing so many soft fouls given by the referee during play when it's on the ball.
No. Well,
that was Downs' point the other day. Downs were like, well, no, because the game's never been softer. Yeah, but it's a difference off the ball. I don't think we've ever seen more cheating, fouling, abusing kind of the situation. On the ball, it's probably the softest it's ever been. I don't mind that as long as it's consistent. You know, when you know what I mean? Like, as long as you're getting the same decisions over the whole game, I ain't got a problem with that. Like, it's a contact sport, but at the end of the day, there's a line for a foul, and you can compare your games to the 90s, the early 90s and whatnot. It's not that game anymore, and players are not getting the same injuries that they used to get either. So you have to kind of be fair with that. I mean, there is a line in which we probably shouldn't be the other side of either. But as long as it's consistent, but it's not. I don't think the referees have a clue what is their kind of stipulation for a free kick or not. I think they just wing it on a one-by-one basis.
100%. And I think what you highlighted at the weekend as well was right about what we've seen and what's so noticeable. And it got to the point where I noticed this a few games ago. I don't know if it was against Aston Villa or not, but we were just getting pulled for everything. We couldn't breathe on a player without them giving Aston Villa a free kick. Ollie Watkins, I think, was just getting everything. And it was like, I didn't even kind of get mad about it at the time because I'm so used to seeing it now. And it's these decisions where it's like, it's other factors coming into it, like, I want to do this because the crowd are again. I'm trying to, get the crowd on side, all that kind of stuff. These external factors, rather than judging like, was that foul? Did that warrant a yellow card? Which obviously it absolutely didn't at the weekend for Gabby. It's a real. Do you know what? It's a real bloody mess. I think what they've got to do is start pulling back on VAR in whatever way they can, and I think they've got to give the referees some more power. And I think we've got to, like we've talked about many times, make becoming a referee financially lucrative and give them that motivation, increase the standard exponentially to get it up to where it needs to be. And just, it's like when I think back to, the noughties heyday or whatever, and, yes, there was decisions that were disputed, match of the day, or, people in the pub chatting about decisions that didn't go, but it was like, it was done. It was done. Do you know what I mean? It was like, you'd have a moan and the ref, he didn't give us that penalty. It was done. But now it's like, now it goes to VAR, but it's just another human making a decision. I mean, it's bonkers.
You're absolutely right. Like we have always complained about refereeing decisions.
Yeah.
From time to time. That's as fair as be. But like I'd even say offsides. Up until the VAR coming in and overturning offside decisions, I can't ever remember really that many situations where a linesman gave an offside and you're like, that's an absolute joke.
No, I don't either.
I actually think the linesmen do an unbelievably good job to keep it as tight as what it is. And like now we've been doing this for a few years, ruling goals off for a toe air being offside, and it's like it's such a anticlimax to the whole situation. I'd much rather it just be left to the people. But the decisions, it comes with the same territory. You're second guessing absolutely everything. Even when a goal goes in, even if you think there can't be a chance that it's going to get ruled out, you don't know if it's going to be looked back on a different phase of play, or something's happened somewhere that will stop this goal from going ahead, and it's like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And then, you look at some of these VAR decisions against us. I remember, Melier getting punched by a Spurs player and it just didn't get picked up. Luke O'Nien against Strat. I mean, it's a shambles. It is a shambles. And look, we could
we've had
talking about it.
We've had so many, Brownie. I mean, this season, it feels so unfair how many we've had this season. Yeah, and I don't like it to be woe is us. I really don't. No. And I'm always bordering on the line of it being a reality that there is an unconscious bias against Leeds. I do. Yeah. I certainly feel like that. But then I hear from other fans, well, we also feel like that. So I don't know. But I'm capable enough of removing the emotion. Yeah. And I feel it. You know what I mean? I feel like it exists. Whether it's unconscious or conscious or not is irrelevant. It's there. It exists for me. I don't think there's this like agenda to get us relegated. No. I don't think it's like, right, go out there and make sure that Leeds United get relegated. I don't think it's that severe of corruption, but I do think it exists unconsciously.
Yeah, I completely agree. Having watched Leeds for 25 years or whatever it is, 30 years, indeed. Moving kind of slightly on and focus on what we can control, what we can be in charge of. And I do want to have a little chat about this potential goal drought situation or whatnot, and in particular Dominic Calvert-Lewin. I found myself when I was kind of thinking about the game from the weekend, I've got to be honest, I felt frustrated with him for look, anyone can miss a penalty. I get it. But I feel like what's happening with Dom at the minute is the miss against Man City. I feel like he's kind of, I've got to use the word Bamford-esque when those big moments are coming up. I'm doubting whether he's going to put that ball in the back of the net for us because he's not a great finisher. He's not a technically good striker of the football. He does so many things so well. The physical presence, aerial, the flicks, the touches, the cuteness, all that stuff is brilliant. And he's been our talisman for this season. And without him, I know we would absolutely have been in the mire this season. My worry is it's coming to crunch time and has that purple patch or whatever just left him a bit. I mean, Jay didn't just miss the penalty, he hit it 3 feet wide of the post. I mean, it's not just...
Did you see Rooney analysing it?
No, I haven't actually, no.
Rooney analysed it on Match of the Day, and he slows it down and he basically hits it with his heel. If you slow it down, like he basically hits the ball with the back side of his foot. It's awful technique. Yeah. Really, really awful technique. You know, it's technique that you wouldn't expect to see from somebody at Sunday League level, to be totally honest. He never looks that comfortable, I don't think, when he takes a penalty. I thought he had a great first half against Palace. I thought it was really good. He's a spicy Bamford. He is very much Bamford reincarnated. You know, he does. You know, Bamford does something slightly better than Dominic Calvert-Lewin does, and Calvert-Lewin does a lot way better than Bamford does. You know, his aerial prowess, the way that he hangs in the air. You go and have a look at his catalogue of goals this season. Most of them are headers. Yeah. Most of them are headers. You know, you've got the Sunderland goal. Say again.
And 6 yards out.
Yeah. Well, that is what he is. You know, we never really should have expected Calvert-Lewin to start whipping in loads of unbelievable finishes, but he does give us so much other than that, and we haven't got anything better. No. Like there isn't a world in which at a Premier League level I'd prefer Metcha to be signed. There's not. Even though I know through on goal Metcha would probably be the better one in terms of finishing, we wouldn't create anywhere near the amount of chances that we do with Metcha in this side that Calvert-Lewin does. And it's not just that, like Calvert-Lewin defends from the front. Go and have a look at the Palace game the other day, how many throw-ins he won in that first half. And I know that's hard to kind of then, you know, enjoy that because he's, what a winning the following game. Yeah, like I get it. But it is important. Gaining them yards up the pitch and controlling the game from that area of the pitch is massively important. Yeah. You're a long way away from your goal at that point. These things matter to teams that are at the bottom of the league. So it's a real tricky one, mate. But we are where we are and we've got what we've got. And, you know, he still managed to score 10 goals this season. I just would prefer him not to be taking penalties. I weren't surprised that he missed it at all, if I'm honest.
No. It did have that slight feeling of inevitability about it, didn't it? Really, when he kind of stood up, the kind of really short run up, wasn't it, as well? I just found myself a bit frustrated and a bit concerned, thinking, well, if it dries up for Calvert-Lewin completely, you know, because I don't. The chance against Man City, a penalty you've missed. If you're not getting those in the back of the net, we don't create a hatful for him either, do we? I mean, it's not like he's missing 5-6 chances a game. It's like he's got to be clinical in those moments. Because despite everything we've said about referees, if he puts that penalty away at the weekend, none of that probably happens.
Yeah,
we
you're right.
See the game out because I don't think Palace, you know, I know we've thrown away Leeds before away from home. I don't think Palace would have been capable the way they were that game. They showed absolutely nothing. He puts that penalty away, we've potentially got 3 points. It's so difficult because you're absolutely right as well. It's like second half as well defensively. What he was doing as well that helped to keep them out. And it's so difficult, but it's just those moments. And my concern now is if it's dried up for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, where are the goals coming from? Because I mean, we've seen with Aronson, he's had a massive drop off in terms of his finishing, point in case against Palace. it feels to me it's almost like Stack. He's probably, Stack from a free kick or something is probably going to be your most. I mean, set pieces, we've not had a goal from a set piece for a while. I know the Stack free kick, but I mean like a header or from a corner or a throw in. That's dried up. It's 1 win in 10 now, and it seems like our options for goals have dried up a little bit. Now, obviously, you could be seduced by the fact that in the FA Cup, Nonto and James and Piru are playing and we score 3, but it's a championship team. It's completely different. But what is that there? Because this is not a good time for all that to dry up, because you have to score goals to get points and win games. I look at the other teams around us, I just feel like they have got more goals in them at the minute, especially West Ham. Well, I was going to say Forest, but actually they've not scored with about 90 shots.
They just don't score.
They just don't score them, do they? So it's a difficult one. But I mean, how concerned are you with the finishing, the lack of goals at the minute, and how do we spark that? Is it a case of, look, we just need something to fall for us? I mean, nothing falls for us, does it?
Yeah. I definitely think there's a little bit of an issue from the set pieces again. It definitely feels like it has dried up. We made that such a weapon earlier on in the season, and then it's kind of disappeared altogether. The penalty is an interesting one, because I don't know this off the top of my head, but the likelihood is that we win that set piece that then won the penalty, and that'll probably come from Dominic Calvert-Lewin. We don't know whether we'd have even got that passage of play without him. So it is a funny one, because I used to make the same argument with Bamford. Bamford will miss chances, but he will also have been the reason why we created so many of them. And something else as well, strikers miss a lot of chances. Me and my lad from 7 Aside were having a bit of a chat about conversion rates, because I was mugging him off yesterday saying that he has about 6% conversion rate. And he brought up a tally from last season, and Chris Wood obviously had an unbelievable season last season, and he had a 26% conversion rate. So that still means that he missed 74% of all the chances that he had. Do you get what I mean? So players,
everyone perceived that as an amazing season, didn't they?
Exactly. This is exactly so.
Haaland now, he's on a right drought. I know he scored last night, but in the league, he's on a right drought.
But you're talking like 1 in 4 is what you're scoring out of the chances that you have. So it does then kind of beg the question, because we only watch Leeds, right? Yeah. So we don't look at all the chances that all the other teams are always missing either. I mean, we just watch Match of the Day and see one flying and think that's it. So it is tricky to kind of really pinpoint the issue. I think we are so pragmatic. We're so structured. Everything is kind of based around keeping the score down for us. And I don't mind that, because I think that is where our strength is. I'd rather us try and keep it tight, take them late, and then hopefully nick the game, because I think that is our best route to points.
Yeah.
If we start making this more free-flowing and more open, I just worry that we'd end up getting picked off and we'll end up losing more games. So I think it's more structural than it is necessarily individual quality, even though we've made the point, me and you, all season, that we don't have a lot of individual X factor in the third half of the pitch, especially without Okafor. I always feel like we're so much more capable of having a moment to create a great assist or create a great goal with Okafor in the team, with Gabby Burton alongside him and whatnot. I still think that's where most of our goals look like they're going to come from, is Gabby and Justin or Bogle doing their thing and getting the ball back into them dangerous areas. So yeah, it's a real tricky one, mate, to kind of pinpoint. But I think between now and the end of the season, I would imagine that it'll end up looking something similar. None of the teams are scoring a lot of goals down there.
No.
I saw a statistic the other day out of the last 5 games, and not in terms of goals this is, but in terms of games, only West Ham have won 1 game. Out of all of our last 5, Spurs, Forest, Leeds and West Ham have won 1 game.
Wow.
All the other teams have drawn 3 and lost 2. All of them. So when we're like flapping as guns, like, oh, we can't win a game, Spurs have not won a game, Forest have not won a game, and West Ham have won 1 and drawn 2 and then lost. No, actually, I think West Ham have drawn 3, won 1 and lost 1. And everyone else have lost 2 and drawn 3. You know what I mean? So we are where we are, and that is the kind of form that's going to continue.
Yeah, absolutely. No, we're down here for a reason, aren't we? Do you think, I mean, would there be a temptation? I mean, if you look at we're in the best position in terms of points, you're playing Brentford on a Saturday night at Ellen Road under the lights. Now, I agree with you. I think what's kept us in it this season and been such a good foundation for us is being defensively resolute, secure, not conceding chances. I think we have one of the fewest. I think we're one of the teams with the fewest mistakes leading to goals. I think that says a lot because we're not giving anything away. Like the XG is very balanced for and against, that kind of thing. And there's been games where we've nicked it, Everton, Fulham, got those wins like that. I just wonder, would there be a temptation though? Just because if we get a win at this point, Brentford Saturday night under the lights, 3 points with all the other 3 teams playing the day after. Is there a temptation to say, why don't we try and put this to bed early? Maybe we have one more attacking player on the pitch. It's probably not going to be Okafor at this stage, but maybe Willie or James. Or would you be tempted if you Farke say, look, probably one more win at this stage, and God, we're so close at that point. 34 points with 7 games to go. 35, sorry, with the games that we've got to come. I mean, it's so close, desperate for this win. Is there a temptation to say, let's try and be proactive and let's try and get this done as soon as we can, and let's try and let's create some chances, let's be more proactive? Because against Sunderland, it felt very much we're in that mode of we just need to lock it down and try and win it late on. Didn't agree with that at the time, not changing my mind on it. I completely understood where that was coming from, but I just think, is there a temptation there with these favourable fixtures, saying favourable against 7th place Brentford, but it could be anyone, when we play Wolves or Burnley or whatever, is a temptation there actually let's maybe put our foot down on this a bit more, try and, I don't know, be a bit more proactive in creating chances potentially? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, is there a temptation to try and go and win it early and get it done, Kathy? Because I really feel one more win, James, where one more win in this kind of the next couple of fixtures, 3 fixtures, whatever, it's just absolutely.
Because you're going to back yourself to get enough points in the rest of them, aren't you?
Yeah.
I hear it.
And you only need to draw the others. Then it takes out. It's just less pressure, isn't it? Then
I think we need 6 points, mate. I genuinely think it's 6 points out of 8 games. We'll do it. I reckon 38 will be just enough.
Yeah. I think so.
You're then still talking about West Ham and Forest both needing 9 to level with us.
Yeah.
Out of 8. And bear in mind, during the season so far, they have averaged less than a point a game. Yeah. And then you throw Spurs in there as well. And some of these teams have got to play each other. Like, there's just so much to kind of add up. That so many people kind of get in their own heads and start saying, "Oh, they're going to get 15 points in these next 8 games." They're not. They're not all of them, definitely. I mean, I don't even think one of them will. So maybe I think personally going into Saturday's game, I'd like to see the same team. Unfortunately, Gabby's not going to be playing, which sucks ass, if I'm honest. But Justin O'Coat left back and we'll play Bogle at right back. But I'd like to see the exact same team. Metcher and Calvert-Lewin up front together, I think makes a lot of sense in this game. You have to still respect Brentford. Brentford have got one of the best away records in the whole of the Premier League. I'm not sure exactly where they're at, but I think they might even be better away from home than at home. They've got an unbelievable record this season. Yeah. When you then, I won't personally in this game start be going to a 4-2-3-1, playing Nonto or James as well. I still think, and a lot of Leeds fans won't like to hear this, I still think a point on the weekend would be a decent point.
Yeah.
Just chips away at it again. And, 33 points, okay, right, we're moving in the right direction constantly. We want to get that 3 points on the board as quickly as we possibly can. Of course we do, I get it. But we have got more winnable games than this one.
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to ask you about this kind of the idea of winnable games and everything like that. And what your take on fixture difficulty is, because obviously, it was kind of bandied around, I think, when there were about 10 or 11 games left, that Leeds had the easiest running, but, you look at this kind of easy running and, when you kind of dig under it a little bit more, how easy is it going to actually be? And how much does it mean at this stage? Because, you look at Wolves. I mean, Wolves come back against Brentford the other night.
They keep coming back, don't they?
Are they going to be easy at Ellen Road? Is that going? That's a game where you go, oh well, we've got bottom of the league, and so it's going to be kind of 2 + 2 = 4. But then you look at what's actually happening, you go, well, that might not be straightforward. We've got Man United away from home. Man United are absolutely flying at the minute. That's gonna be a real tricky task. So, in your mind, fixture difficulty when it gets to last 8 games of the season, 9 games of the season, whatever, does it? What is it telling the whole picture? Is there an easier fixture list? I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. I would prefer to be playing Burnley and Wolves at home than Man City and Arsenal away or something like that. I get it, but I think that it's just so high pressure. I don't know if it's clear cut as, Leeds have got easy fixtures and we're just going to kind of stroll home.
We're definitely not going to stroll home, but there's a reason that the probability tables have got us with such little chance of going down. So I've got the home and away tables here up on my screen. Do you know how many points Wolves have taken away from home this season?
I don't think they've won, have they? They haven't won away, have they? 5, maybe. 5.
Out of 15 games, I've taken 5 points. Yeah, so and I think they were away from home against Brentford, so that's one of their 5 points, right? The next bottom, Burnley, on 9. Now, we've been terrible away from home. They're the 2 teams that are worse than us, right?
Are we third bottom then still?
We're third bottom on 10.
Right.
Yeah, 7 draws, 7 losses, 1 win.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's not good, but we make up for it kind of at home. We've got a better home record than Everton, who I think are in the top half.
Where are we placed for a home record?
We're 13th on 22 points.
Right. Okay.
6 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. Yeah, and one of them, unfortunately, Sunderland, who have the 4th worst away record. We should have. They've got a better away record than us by 4 points. When we know how crap Sunderland are, unfortunately, that is my least favourite result this season.
Yeah,
a 1-0 home loss to Sunderland, because I genuinely think they're the worst team I've seen.
Yeah, it was awful, wasn't it?
I know Wolves were really bad when we played them away, and I know Burnley are a funny one, because I think Burnley are doing as well as can be expected. I really do. They've come up with some freak results. I just don't think they're very good. I think they're doing the best that they can possibly do with what they've got. They've got no striker. They've got no goals in that team. The back line was ripped to pieces in terms of what was really carried them through in Trafford and Egan Riley. They kept Esteve, but they don't have it. So I don't think they've disgraced themselves all this season. Do you know who's got the worst home record in the league?
I don't know who.
It's like quiz time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Spurs. How mental.
Oh God, yeah, of course. What is it? 2 games have won or something?
2 wins out of 15, and they've taken 10 points.
And I bet if you stretch that back to last season as well, I bet it's ridiculous, isn't it?
We've got to go there as well.
Yeah.
When you look at it, we actually play Spurs, who are bottom of the home table, away, and we play Burnley and Wolves, who are bottom of the away table, at home. You know what I mean? We can't wish to have better fixtures. We've got, who else have we got? Manchester United away. Yeah, sure, that's going to be tough, but it's a derby. We can hopefully make that what it is. Hopefully we can take something from that. Who else have we got? We've got Brighton at home, haven't we? Who are, mid-table in the away. Brentford, by the way, 10th in the away form table. I thought they were better than that. But they're still, it's fairly split between wins and losses as well. They don't really draw. They've only drawn once away from home this season, so it'll be an interesting one.
I mean, you just got to hold your hands up and say fair play to Brentford, haven't you? I mean, I think we've talked about it before, but they've surprised everyone. Keith Andrews, manager, losing players left, right, and centre, including your captain and star player, and they've been able to reinvent themselves, and actually they could be on for their best Premier League finish. I mean, it's absolutely wild.
He's done unbelievably well.
Keith Andrews, man. Keith Andrews. How?
Most people predicted them to be in the bottom three this season.
Brentford model. I'm telling you, if you drop Keith Andrews in at another club, this is not happening. This is not. I don't want to take. Look, he's done brilliantly. I'm not having to go taking it away from him. But the Brentford model, I really think it's like plug in and play.
Yeah, I agree.
Just get the guy in and coach the team, and it's fine.
I think it's about coaching the team on the training pitch and man management. I don't even think the tactics come from the manager at Brentford. I think the tactics come from the club. Like it's a club philosophy. This is how we play, and fair play, respect to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Interesting you mentioned about Burnley there as well. Burnley are my kind of like, what would it be? Kind of ghost of the future in a bad sense of like, if you become that yo-yo team where it's like, because they're stuck in that thing, aren't they, Jay? Like last year they had to commit to players, obligation fees for players that are not Premier League level. Like you say, that squad's not Premier League level, but they've had to commit it because that's the only way they could have players good enough to get them up from the Championship. But then you're stuck in this kind of yo-yo position. I do feel like if we go down this season, I don't know if that officially makes us a yo-yo team, but then it makes it so hard with the whole financial landscape of things to then bounce back, but be able to kind of cement yourself a little bit. It's odd.
I do think it's a bit different for us personally.
Yeah.
I think the landscape at Leeds is different to the landscape at Burnley. No matter who your backing is, you're still Burnley. I know that's a bit disrespectful, but it's true. Like I don't really understand how Bournemouth have put themselves in a different sphere to that, because I see Bournemouth the same. Brentford are a bit of an anomaly in themselves. It is that model, the way that they recruit players is just a bit different, and it's worked unbelievably well for them. Otherwise, they'd be in the same category as well. Yeah. I think Brighton were in that category for a period of time, but they've built themselves out of that. Yeah. And Burnley are in the same kettle of fish as Sheffield United, West Brom when they were up and down. You can't really put Leicester and Southampton in it because it's not been long enough. But you know what I mean? Norwich are another one of them. They're just not able to really break through and stay there because they just can't attract the level of player, whether it's finances or just attraction of the club. You know what I mean? So I don't think we'll ever come to that, but I know what you're saying. I hear it.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't have to find out, mate.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Couple other bits just to round up then before we kind of spin it back round to the Brentford game before we finish up. International call-ups. Brendan Aronson has got a call-up to the US national men's team, which is great news for him. World Cup year, and he's had to fight his way back into the national setup. A little bit nervous because obviously Brendan's a player that gives 110%, and so that horrible kind of March international break, and if there's any injuries or stuff that happen, you're like, oh God, I know did we go through a thing where we were struggling the game immediately post international break in the Championship? I'm sure, was there something like that?
Yeah, it was a while ago, wasn't it?
There was something, wasn't there? I don't know if it just kind of was the first year in the Championship under Farker where it seemed to hit us.
Well, the first season in the Championship under Farker, we had the Wales-Finland playoff game. The Dan James missed penalty. Joe Rodon, Ethan Ampadu were both playing in that game as well. Connor Roberts. So it were a bit of a mess, wasn't it? Because we came back from that international break in March and we were really struggling. We really struggled. The legs had gone. So, yeah.
Yeah. And so hopefully Brendan, it might just be appearances off the bench.
Is it just Brendan?
Well, it's Brendan. The Wales boys are going. In terms of the other ones, I don't know, because I remember Nagelsmann a few weeks ago had some interesting comments about Stack. It was like he never watched him, basically. But I know all the Wales boys are going. So Rodon, James, Ampadu, and Darlow are all going. So it's every time Wales play, we know we're up against it.
Is the England call-ups on Friday?
I'm not too sure, actually. I think it might be, yeah.
because I'm pretty sure I read that, and because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's expected to be in it, isn't he?
Is it?
From what I've read. I hope not. If I'm honest, I hope it doesn't go. Even though it might be great for his confidence, you don't really need him playing any extra games or traveling or anything, do you?
No. Is that all we've got then? Have we got anybody else that'll even be going anywhere? I don't think we've.
Gabby with Sweden, maybe. I don't know if Sweden are playing.
Yeah, I don't know what's. Yeah, I don't know what
Yaka would go with.
Yeah.
Slovenia. I always forget.
Yeah. I'm not going to guess. Yeah, one of them. Yeah, but I don't think there's not that many, is there? Apart from that, I don't think.
Tanaka.
Oh yeah. Tanaka might be going.
That'd be it, I think.
Actually, quite handy for players that are not playing, isn't it? As well.
Yeah.
Get some minutes and whatnot. Right. But yeah, hopefully all good. Are you mentally prepared for this big break? Because I mean, we've got the FA Cup actually, which is good. So we've got a nice kind of game next week to look forward to. But after
that's not next week.
It's
that's the 4th of April. That I was looking earlier. I think we've got one more league game before we go.
No, we got Brentford Saturday, and then there's no league game next weekend, is there? No, it's the weekend after, isn't it?
Yeah, March 28th, isn't it?
And then okay.
We need to win on Saturday.
Yeah. Do you know what? I think I'd enjoy looking forward to I feel like I could switch off more about the league if we won and enjoy going into that cup game then. Do you know what I mean?
100%. We've actually got then a long gap, haven't we? Because from the 21st of March, this Saturday, we don't play another league game until we play Manchester United on Monday, the April the 13th.
As long as that.
It's nearly a month.
Yeah, that's crazy. That is wild. And then and then you're getting into that final 6 games. It'll be after that, Jake. Can you believe we've nearly done the season?
Then you've got Wolves, Bournemouth, and Burnley before the end of by the 2nd of May. I'd say spicy time then, mate. Spicy. Yeah, no. You know what? Now looking at these fixtures, it'll be painful if we don't win on Saturday, because then you're going to be sweating with whatever gap we've got left. We've got Forest and Spurs at the weekend, which is an interesting one. I'm kind of interested to get your feeling on what you want in that game. And then who've West Ham got? West Ham have got Villa, haven't they? Villa away.
Yeah.
I think it is.
I think Villa are stinking. Villa are absolutely.
I know. They need to win at the minute, though.
West Ham are getting a nice run where they seem to be playing teams where it's like
at the right time.
Crisis. Do you know what I mean? It's like, fuck's sake, why does it always work like that?
We win at the weekend and none of the other 3 do.
Oh, that would just be amazing.
We'd be safe. And that would then result, obviously, in Forest and Spurs needing to draw. So what result do you think is the best out of that?
I have got a feeling, could be wrong, I've seen Spurs have won this evening.
Did they? It was 2-2 when I saw it.
Yeah, they've won 3-2 in the end.
Ooh.
So that's Tudor's first win. Got a credible point against Liverpool, albeit Liverpool are not great. I've got a little bit of a feeling that he's not turned it around, but it might just be getting going a little bit for him at Spurs. I've got a feeling that they might get themselves out of this now over the next kind of 3 games or so. I think there's more. I think it's more realistic if Spurs beat Forest, keep Forest really kind of flatlined, and I think that might be better. It does worry me that Forest creates so much though, because what if that suddenly starts happening for them? And you know what I mean? That's a little bit worrying. Oh, it's also dicey. It's too dicey down there. But yeah, draw. I'll take a draw. Take a draw. Us to win, them to draw, West Ham to lose. For me, would be the perfect weekend.
Perfect, yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I'd agree with you. I'd agree. It is a funny one when I think back and forward about who would prefer to lose that game. Like if I had to pick one of them to lose, which direction would I go in? Because at the end of the day, Spurs are the worst team at home in the whole division, right? There has to be something in us wanting to keep that being that way.
Yeah,
there has to be.
Well, this is it. If it was any other club and they weren't called Spurs,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'd be going, oh yeah, absolutely.
If that were Burnley.
Yeah. You'd be like, oh yeah, they're done. They're knackered.
Yeah.
It's only because they're called Spurs where it's like, oh, but they could get it together. I
we know the players that they've got nowhere. We know the quality that they've got within their team. I looked at that team tonight. I know they've got loads of injuries, but it's still quality. Yeah. Van der Ven, Romero, Pedro Porro, Mateus Tell, Colin Mawani, Xavi Simons, Archie Gray. It shouldn't be anywhere near where they are, but they are. So, it's a tough one. What time is it? A 3 o'clock kick-off Saturday?
Let's have a look. What is it? Oh no, it's the Sunday game, 2:15 for some reason.
I'll be giving that a watch then.
2:15. So you just want that right result on Saturday night, don't you, Jay? If you get that, if you get a win Saturday night, I mean, you're loving life, aren't you? You're loving life when it comes to them Sunday games.
Yeah.
What's going to happen though? What do you think is actually going to happen Saturday night? Are we going to be in the ringer, mate? Or is it going to be one of them games, one of them nights?
I think we win the game. 2-1. I'm going to say 2-1. I don't think it's going to be easy. Yeah, I don't think it'll be one of them where we turn up at Ellen Road and blow them away. But I think we're due a win. I think we deserve a win. I think it's really close.
Yeah.
Will be tough, but I think we just do enough. And then we go into this break on 35 points. Who knows what the other ones do? Worst case scenario, then, in my opinion, the absolute worst case is that we need another 5.
Yeah.
We won't need more than 40. I refuse to believe that we'll need more than 40.
No, I can't see that. I can't. Yeah.
What about you?
God, I don't know. I think you're right. I think we're due a win, and I think Farke pulls these results out of the bag from somewhere. Generally speaking, as Leeds United boss, when we've really needed a result, even this season, when that pressure's been building. I think when we beat West Ham at home, it had been a while since we won a game before that, and we really needed that win, and we got it. And then obviously the good run where we went on. So yeah, I back Farke to get us over the line with this one. I think we'll do it. I think 1-0, 2-1, something like that. I mean, a draw wouldn't be the worst result in terms of, not all our rivals can win because 2 of them are playing each other. So straight away, that's good. But to finish on 35 points, I feel like I could almost switch off about the league for a couple of weeks, just enjoy the FA Cup game for what it is without just continually worrying about the league.
You can go into the rivalry game as well with a bit of comfort. Yeah. Like, I don't want to have to go into the Manchester United game really stressed about getting points. I just prefer to just try and go and enjoy that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I agree with you. I think we've seen several times this season that we've been able to pull them out of the bag. I think I don't think it could be a better time for us in terms of 8 o'clock on a Saturday under lights.
Oh no!
I think the place will be banging. Like a lot of the fans will have been out all day. They'll have been supping a bit of booze. It'll be a little bit Larry in there on the night, and I think they'll be really raring to go. Yeah. And what we need. It reminds me a little bit of the Norwich game when we stayed up, the season that we stayed up under Marsh. I know they're a lot better than that Norwich side was, but the trepidation around it, how vital it was at this stage of the season, it were at about this kind of point, and we really needed it. I think this kind of feels the same. Like, we have still got other games that we can win. Yeah, like, I look at these fixtures and I think, well, out of the next 5, even if right now we just take 6 points against Wolves and Burnley, that should be nearly enough.
Yeah.
6 points out of the next 5 wouldn't be the end of the world. That includes us losing 3 games.
Yeah.
But you know what I mean? Like, imagine we could take 9. Just imagine we could take 9 from these next 3 home games. I'd take getting absolute pumped by them over the road for 9 points out of the next 5.
Yeah.
I don't care that much. You know what I mean? I want the points on the board. So
yeah. Agree. Absolutely agree. Good stuff. Right. Well, we'll see what we get. Jay, Saturday, you free? Are we doing a post-match straight after? We'll be here. So please do tune in for that. Get our instant take on the game on Saturday.
There's a look of kind of nervous excitement in your face with regards to Saturday. I can see it in your face.
I'm definitely going to mentally not get in a hole about it like I did about the Palace game. So I've had a word with myself. I'm like, look, it's a home game. It's fine. We got that out of the way. Let's put us positive pants on and get it done. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, it's frustrating because I'm just like, oh God, I feel like we're just one win away at this point to just being kind of almost nearly done.
We've been saying that.
We somehow just keep being held back.
When was last win?
Oh, when was the last win? Actually, let's have a look. Forest. That does feel a long time now. That feels. I mean, it was the start of Feb, so not too long, but yeah,
it probably feels longer because we've had wins in the cup.
You know, that Sunderland game really wasn't it where that should have been a win, and then
yeah, it should. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? That should have been the win that we do, and we'd have had a bit of daylight. But yeah, Salavi. Good stuff. Right. Well, we'll be back Saturday to see what we've got. Instant match reaction then. If you're watching this video again later, please do smash a like on it, get your comments in, and get subscribed to the channel. We will be back Saturday to discuss that Brentford game. But in the meantime, I've been Stephen Brown, with me as ever, Jason Booker. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you, mate.
We will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.